Hello and welcome to my July 21st GTNH update. I will come back to this. This is what I'm currently working on, setting up, basically automating some Ender IO stuff. But I'll get to this. This was the last thing I was working on. So, this update includes everything I did over the weekend, which the primary thing I accomplished was setting up, my interface is down here, fluid storage. As you see here, I got all these different fluid drops going on here. The way I ultimately decided to go about it was kind of a twofold method. So I did start off before I end up going with the method I have now. Go down to my controller to show you guys. I set up some fluid drives. As you can see, there's at least one fluid in the system. I'm not sure what fluid ended up actually leaking in, because I don't think I have anything directly importing into the system at the moment, because I'll show why. But so I set up these fluid drives. They're all 16K cells, although this is kind of overkill because, as you can see, aside from whatever this one random fluid is, nothing has made its way in yet. But instead, for now, I think ultimately eventually I will go to that, but for the moment I'm using super tanks with storage, fluid storage buses on the side of them for most things. I'm a little worried about overflowing too much into the system, and the super tanks have void mode and stuff, so to kind of prevent that. But so I was a little confused when I started setting it up because I could not see any of the fluids in here. All these guys. Turns out you need, my answer would have been just by reading the quest book. You need this fluid discretizer to actually have them all pop up. As you can see, if I do this, type in fluid, so there is no fluid seed. And I did do the quest for it. I just apparently, like a lot of times when I mess something up in this game, it was because I did not pay attention and actually read, or at least read and process what it was saying. Because you can do dual interface. Where is the fluid stuff? Oh, over here. So yeah, you can see every ME system needs this. Which is funny because you can tell, since I didn't read it, I actually set up an autocraft for this, which I'm pretty sure, unless I make like little mini isolated systems in the future, I don't actually need this to be a pattern in the system, because I think, as far as I can tell, you only need the one. But anyway, so I set up this guy, and then to go along with that, I should go this way. So it should be this floor. Actually, probably be this floor. I got this whole island of different super tanks. The first 5 are all like the major fluids, which I don't have any oxygen or hydrogen coming in here. I think I need to address that at some point in the near future, get a little more. I think I'm just going to spam electrolyzers though, nothing too fancy. And then the rest of these guys are all various cells. Basically all of these are different oil byproducts or coal byproducts in some form. If we come over here, part of setting this up, so the whole reason I had gone to this was I want to start setting up LCRs for all my plastics, but I was using fluid P2Ps all over the place, and I figured if I was going to address my fluid storage system, I should just do it now before I start setting up all my next level or next chemicals to move on. So what I did for most things, what I'm going to commonly do is, like, say this LCR is making phthalic acid, so I just have a single super tank on the outside. This one I don't have set to void because I'm alright with this whole line of stuff shutting down if this is full, which it shouldn't ever be because this directly feeds into the B passive processing. And you can see this is at 0, which is important. That's going to feed into the next stuff I did throughout the weekend. And then for all of these guys, the distillation towers, I set up these either 9x9 or 4x4 pipes, just depending on which one it is. Like this guy's a set of quadruple bronze, whereas these guys over here are no nipple. did not know that word. Pipes, and they feed directly into this tank that is then exporting. In this case, this is my first dual interface I set up because it's importing the liquids out of this guy and exporting sulfuric acid into this guy. Or in this case, this one's just directly going into a fluid ME storage bus, or import bus I should say, and then where I need it I just throw in acceleration cards. So all those guys are coming in, and then they essentially are being transported over here. This will help me with scalability. Like, I don't have... So what I was doing, and I actually meant to set one back up before I started recording, and I forgot I was going to do that, is basically what I would have is I had these glass cables coming along, and then like all the places where I was producing a fluid, I'd have a P2P dump into this super tank, and then one P2P out of this that then fed everything that needed said fluid. That was pretty quickly becoming a little ridiculous and like very inefficient with channels. Like, it was not scalable at all, like, because sulfuric acid in particular, since this is coming at this or the this guy, hydrogen sulfide, come out of a lot of different processes, and I just had like super tanks laying around wasted, and instead of having like sulfuric acid full on demand depending on what P2P I had set up, I was running into like bottlenecks and stuff where I really shouldn't have it, because you make tons of this stuff. But I did get rid of every single one of my fluid P2Ps. Some of them I probably didn't need to. Again, that phthalic acid is literally only going one place, and I'm pretty sure it only has one use, which is to do the passive resources over there. But I just want to kind of do like a best practices, or like these lubricant ones, which is actually kind of the perfect example for scalability, as I have my cutting machine that's in the clean room over here, and then I have this guy, and now instead of messing around with P2Ps, if I need to expand it all in the future, just have an import bus into each one, pulling from the lubricant tank. And then part of that, because like lubricant's actually an interesting one of, I don't really need, you use so little that I don't need much on demand, so I actually, for a couple spots and using import buses and stuff into existing places, I actually set up to be able to craft these low voltage tanks right here. I should probably also make the ultra low voltage version, but that's alright, because in my chemical plant in particular over here, where I got all my I think it's tetranitroethylene. Let's see if I got that right. Tetranitromethane, going to for fuel production. The way I had set it up was with a bunch of P2Ps, and then they would like feed out to where they needed to, like the sulfuric acid, for example, is used in different crafting recipes for circuit boards, etc. But the export buses do not feed directly into the pipes, so having these little tiny tanks to basically pull the fluid in and then take over where my P2Ps were before is very useful. So, like I said, I got rid of all my P2Ps. That was cool. I started to set up... so the next thing I wanted to address before I moved on was setting up the last of my kind of like passive resources. So you see I made this extreme energy crusher, though it does not have a mob in it. So making this guy kind of set me on the track of what some of the passive resources I have that I'm either not making enough of, or at least not fast enough, as well as where I was missing some stuff. So specifically with starting this guy, realized my diamond production, because I use the EEC that was making me passive diamonds down here below my blood magic down below, was not making me diamonds nearly fast enough as soon as I started crafting these spikes. So I did set up some new bees, Well, going to set up new bees, I realized I don't have enough blaze rods, so I kind of like caught myself in a chicken and an egg situation of, okay, I don't have enough blaze rods, specifically the blaze rods I was using to craft these heaters here, which this guy is not Julian, but that's alright, he doesn't have any Julian things. But I needed to create more heaters, because there's a couple more bees I want to either get like more of in general, like the salt bee for example, or in this case I set up the diamond bee. I also realized I didn't have enough lapis, so down here in my passive processing before, everything that was coming out of the combs would get purified through one of these 4 LCRs, come in here, the purified ore would get macerated, come in here, get centrifuged out. But diamonds and lapis, I set up this sifting machine and I'll paralyze as needed. Right now it seems to keep up just fine because I only need 1 bee of each so far for this. I'll probably also set up emerald at some point. I don't know if I need emerald much in the future. We'll see. As soon as I need it, I'll start setting it up, because bees get me caught up pretty fast and I can always mess around with something else while I'm waiting. But basically I set it up so lapis is coming here, diamonds coming in here. So now I'm getting all these byproducts, which I haven't connected to the system. Actually rearranged some of these drawers so all my combs are over here on this one, and I took this one off of my AE network. That way it wasn't forcing the AE network to do updates every time, because this has a lot of activity going on. You see, I also set up the uranium comb. This one, you can have 2 different ways to process. I decided to go through the centrifuge route versus the sifting route, because that gets you uranium 235 as a byproduct, which is going to be important in the next couple days. I haven't set it up yet, but I do want to set up some uranium nuclear reactors versus just my thorium ones. So I got all this stuff going, but excuse me, sorry that I did that in the microphone. So I got those bees set up. With those bees set up, I realized, okay, so while making the EEC, or the Extreme Entity Crushers, you need to make spawners. To make spawners, I need things like these Ender Crystals and these Franken Zombies. Now, before I was doing these manually, what I left off today doing and didn't quite get done is I'm setting up to make them via autocraft. I do want to shout out, there's a YouTube channel called Aspect that does a bunch of GTNH stuff, and I got this idea basically from him, setting up, I'm not setting up the exact same way he did, but that you could even autocraft these. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I assume you can pretty much auto set up everything, but basically what I haven't set them up yet, but I've got this guy, this Slice and Spice, and the next couple days, or tonight or tomorrow, I will set up 2 spawners here that you can use capture mode to then spit out an exact zombie that you can then pattern into the AE system, which will allow you to set up these autocrafts, or else, let's see, it doesn't show that you can even do it here, so I didn't realize. I was just had him on in the background one of those days and I saw it. I would recommend watching some different channels. You never know what random tips you'll get, but that's what I'm currently working on. Part of that though was that I didn't want to have tools with durability in here, because it does take an axe and a precision shears. So I did craft a new healing axe, and this was the first time crafting these guys, which did I just realized I'm on a different computer. So normally during the day I play on a laptop, and then I record these on my desktop. Actually died 4 times making these guys because I messed up healing X. I messed up the rod that goes into this guy, and if you don't know, these guys explode. What I didn't realize, I thought they just exploded no matter what. It's actually once they get the countdown, if you close out of the crafting window or move their position after the countdown's done, they just explode and kill you, and they kill you through your armor. So I died the first time, and then I tried crafting a different way. I died again, and then because I still had 2 ingots left in there, I died 2 more times trying to get it to get set up. But to get these precision shears, you need angel blocks. To get angel blocks, unfortunately, I had to hop back into Thaumcraft. Say unfortunately, because I wasn't going to do any Thaumcraft again until I started setting up auto crafting for it, because while Thaumcraft is interesting, I find a lot of the crafting that it makes you do very monotonous. It is nice to have this giant guy going. Soon I'm gonna wait till I start setting up the auto crafting for Thaumcraft before I actually energize this node, and then I'll actually have a bunch of good bees that I can use for other stuff after that point, because currently I have 8 over here. But I had to do a bunch of different research to basically unlock the angel blocks, because the angel blocks require some research, and then on top of it, this ruined obsidian requires research, as well as scanning an item, which I'm sure it's happened before, but for me personally, this was the first time that I saw distinctly on there that it was something I had to scan to unlock said research. And then that was earlier today. It was kind of it turned into a giant rabbit hole of like, okay, let me just automate some of the Ender IO. What I was working on before that though today was breeding out more spruce bonsai crops, because these are what are feeding the pyrolyzed ovens back in the fuel building, where with all the distillation towers I've got going on. But honestly, I couldn't get very far before I was just bored out of my mind doing this. Normally, if I do if I sit here to breed these or get more of them, I try to do it while I'm actually doing I'll do it at work while I'm doing real work, and I just kind of keep this off to the side, and I'll oh, okay, a new one's popped up, because otherwise you're just sitting here staring at it, because you don't want weeds to pop up and ruin all your crops. And also now that's back again, because my void's gone up or my warp's gone up because I was doing that stuff. Let's see, what else do I want to talk about for this update? Got new food storage. I think that's actually it for the weekend. I will say, setting up this, it felt very accomplished. It did take a while. Basically, I just sat on the couch, and it was raining pretty good here on one of the weekend days, and I was just watching The Sopranos and setting all these guys up, getting everything off the P2P. Immediate future, tonight or tomorrow, I want to finish setting up this little section of auto crafting so I can auto craft powered spawners, including these 2 items. And then from there, the other thing I want to do, which actually started the crafts for, is, I mentioned before, I want to set up 4 uranium reactors, specifically so that I can move these 4 guys off of my C-Team boosted diesel. Unfortunately, if I do too large of a craft, these guys being on IV, the system just can't handle it. It will drain out. So I do have a second buffer tank here now as well. There's basically in line to this guy, there's 2 C-Team boosted diesel tanks in line, so that I hopefully don't run out. It is getting better though in general, just because my passive ones over here are running all the time now, which now these guys are caught up, so these guys aren't using up any fuel, and it does take a load off the system, because say for example, I have 250 titanium now just already crafted, so a lot of my crafting times and stuff are sped up, and it'll get better, especially as I don't leave the server running overnight unless I do try to do a large craft. But yeah, so I'll get those autocrafts set up, try to set up those reactors, and then as well as set up the 2 extreme entity crushers. I never end up saying what I'm going to put in there. I'm going to put I already captured one somewhere. I have it sold around here. I'm going to put a blaze in one, and then I want to do a ghast in the other, because the ghast will give us gas tiers. The gas tiers can then be turned into lithium, which is basically the bottleneck right now for creating this acid right here. I could spam a few more salt bees or get like an actual lithium bee. I might do that as well, just to make it so that this never runs out, but I'm not overly stressed about it right now, because this is also being bottlenecked a little bit by wood over here, because this guy, my wood production basically is not keeping up. Although part of this is I did take my LV wood farm off of inputting in here, because my LV wood farm still creates steam, and the steam does have some purposes back in that base still, or that portion of the base. But that was my update. I'm gonna go for the weekend. Hope everybody has a good night.